It is LA Guns right here on your classic metal show from their Hollywood Vampires release. It is Kiss My Love Goodbye. And, Steve Riley of LA Guns fame, he's out there promoting his version of LA Guns, out there being competitive or sharing the same marketplace as Tracy and Phil's LA Guns.
Right.
And they've recorded some music, and they've released a song this week, which the rest of the CD will be out later this year. But for whatever reason, Steve Riley believes that he has as much right to use the LA Guns name as Tracy and Phil.
Yeah, how does that work exactly?
Well, he explains it to our friend over there at Talking Metal, Mark Striegel.
All right.
Mark Striegel has not been able to ride around his neighborhood in his minivan filming himself for money. So, so I guess he's knocking down a couple of interviews during the lockdown, and one of them would be Steve Riley.
Okay.
I've known Steve for many years. He and I are very friendly on a very personal basis. And every time I've seen Steve or hung out with him or chit-chatted with him, he's always been extremely friendly and always been very good to me. And I have nothing but, great respect for the guy. But in this case, as far as the, going out there as LA Guns, I just don't get that. It's like, why are you watering down this brand?
Yeah, further watering down an already watered down brand.
Yeah, it went through a lot of back and forth. Even with Tracy. I mean, Tracy, he went out there and tried to do his own version of LA Guns while the Phil and Steve version was out there. When Tracy left the band in 2002 to go work with Nikki Sixx and Brides of Destruction. And then when that fell apart, Tracy went out there and re-teamed up with Paul Black and tried to carry on a version of LA Guns, calling it LA Guns as well. So this isn't the first time there have been a couple competing LA Guns camps out there.
Yeah. Then there was the Marty Casey version of LA Guns with Tracy, wasn't there?
Yeah, and then he had some girl singer.
Delania.
Yeah.
Yeah. That girl can sing, but something's got to be fucked up with her, because she can really sing and she hasn't made it, which is to get as much attention as she gets and still not have made it. There's something there that's just a fucking disaster. That's my assumption. I don't know, but there's got to be a reason that girl hasn't made it, because she could sing her ass off.
Well, Tracy tried to make it work with her at one point, calling it LA Guns as well. And, what kind of, no fan is going to accept a chick fronting LA Guns. It's just not going to happen.
Right. Who was in the band in the Ralph Saenz version of LA
Well,
Guns?
It was Steve and Tracy and Ralph and a guy by the name of Johnny Crypt.
Oh, that's right, Johnny Crypt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, of course, there's the Jizzy version of LA Guns.
Yeah, that was Steve, Tracy, Jizzy, and I think Adam Hamilton.
Oh, jeez. They have had too many guys. I think other than Whitesnake, they have the most members ever of a band.
Yeah, probably.
It's just ridiculous how many people have been through LA Guns.
Yeah, true. And I mean, they're a C-level act at best.
Yeah. I mean, they had 4 hits?
Well, they had quite a few hits, but they certainly never got to the point of being any kind of a headliner aside from, small clubs.
Yeah. I mean, they had the one big one. They had Ballad of Jane, which was the big hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then what were the other hits? Never Enough?
Never Enough was Sex Action.
Sex Action.
They also were on the soundtrack for Point Break, which Over the Edge was on there.
Yeah, Over the Edge was, but that was a mild hit, Over the Edge.
Yeah, but it still got to be on a major soundtrack.
Yeah, Kiss My Love Goodbye, I think, was a hit, wasn't it?
Which I just played, and Crystal Eyes.
Was that a hit or was that just
No, that was a hit.
Was it? Because I know they put it out on like 2 records, didn't they?
They did. It appeared on both Hollywood Vampires and Vicious Circle.
Yeah, it like failed the first time, so they tried again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they had the one big hit, and then they had a bunch of...
Then they had Electric Gypsy.
That wasn't a hit,
yes,
was
it was. Yeah, they had an MTV video for it.
Electric Gypsy?
Electric Gypsy. Look up their video. They're riding motorcycles alongside of a railroad track.
All right. I believe you. I mean, that would have been, what, 88 or so, 89?
Yeah, right about there.
Yeah, I was out of the country, so.
Yeah. Let's see. Sex Action.
Was Rip and Tear a hit?
Rip and Tear.
Right, I guess they did have some hits. But how come they're such a fucking low-level band with all these hits?
Well, they were in the, came out late. They didn't get to establish themselves as a hit band. I mean, their last album that actually, I don't know if you want to call it, had any kind of sales to it was obviously Vicious Circle, and that was kind of a departure for them. They kind of went a little heavier on that.
That's their best record.
Yeah, I like that. That one's a great record, and also one of their comeback records, that Waking the Dead. That was a burner.
That's the one with Okay, Let's Roll.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. They're a solid band. Who's bigger, them or like Warrant?
Oh, Warrant's much bigger.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Because they had more bigger hits?
Yeah, Warrant was just on the cusp of being able to headline.
Yeah. Who had more hits? Did Warrant have more, or did they just have bigger hits?
I think they had bigger hits.
Now, LA Guns bigger than Faster Pussycat.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, Faster Pussycat only had 2 albums out, that mattered back then.
Yeah. Right. And they had what, 2 or 3 hits? They had The Bathroom Wall.
Yeah.
They had House of Pain. Was that a hit?
House of Pain. In my House of Pain.
They had, what was the song? I don't even know if this was a hit or not. I just liked it. That When There's a Whip, There's a Way. Was that a hit?
I don't know.
I know the song, When There's a Whip, There's a Way.
Yeah, I know the song. I don't know if it was a hit or not.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
but yeah, I think Faster Pussycat maybe had three hits.
So L.A. Guns is it safe to say that they're wedged behind Poison and behind Warrant and ahead of just about all of the other C-level bands?
Yeah, they're ahead of the Bang Tangos and the Faster
and all that shit.
Exactly.
All right. So they were like probably the last of the hit-making bands.
Pretty much, I would think, yeah.
All right.
Well, and somehow through my association with the Classic Metal Show, I got to know all those guys. I got to know Tracy, and I got to know Phil, and I got to know Steve pretty well, and obviously I met Ralph Saenz through that, and I also sponsored a meet and greet for them when Man in the Moon came out. And, I've got a long history with LA Guns. So that's a band that I really dig a lot, but I don't like the fact that, they're splintered now. I do like the fact that Phil and Tracy are working together, and they really put out 2 really stellar releases in the last 3 years.
Yeah, those are good, solid rock records.
Yeah, the Missing Piece and The Devil You Know, fantastic, just in your face LA Guns records.
Yeah, well, and that's what makes this all the more silly. Doing another version of LA Guns, it's like there's no need for it. And 2 burner records, and what do they play? What does Tracy and Phil play? 1,000 seats?
Maybe.
And that's not shitting on them. That's just the reality.
Yeah, that's just where they're at as a level of a band.
Yeah, and if that's what the singer and the guitar player are doing, what is the fucking value of the B version of the band, of the drummer and the bass player.
Well, this boils down to Bobby Blotzer's Rat.
You think Bobby set the precedent?
Well, what I'm saying, it's akin to what Bobby did.
Yeah.
I'll take the name and I'm the drummer. So I'll put 3 or 4 other guys together and, use the name.
He's not even the drummer though on the first album, is he?
Not
Isn't
technically,
Nick
no.
Alexander?
Not technically. He was on the photo, but it's the same way as Jeff Pilson was not the bassist on the first Dokken record. Yeah, Breaking the Chains, but the video features him for Breaking the Chains.
He should have waited that one out. What a shit record.
It was early stuff, but. Anyway, Steve Riley spoke with Talking Metal.
All right.
And he spoke about his decision to call his new band LA Guns. He said that here's what the situation is in a nutshell. I was the only one that stayed in LA Guns. I'm the longest tenured member in LA Guns. And even though I came pretty much last at the very beginning, I'm the one that stayed with the band.
Oh, well, good.
Which is true. Now, he did get fired from the band for Vicious Circle.
Yeah.
He was Bones, some guy by the name of Bones or something was playing drums for them.
Nice. So his tenure is not even that. It might be longest, but it's not entire tenure by any stretch.
No, but he, after LA Guns regrouped with Tracy, Steve Tracy, and that what was that hardcore singer guy?
Oh God. Oh, we had him on the show.
Yeah. He does an Aerosmith tribute.
What is that guy's name? Son of a bitch. How do I not know that? God damn it. L.A. Guns, singer, American hardcore. I know the name of the album even, but I can't think of the guy's name. Chris Van Dahl.
Yeah, Chris Van Dahl. Yeah. So when Steve and Tracy reformed L.A. Guns with a Chris Van Dahl on vocal, that's when, I guess you would call, that's when L.A. Guns restarted with Steve.
Right.
And Steve remained with L.A. Guns when they regrouped. This was in 96, I think, that they got back together. So Steve has consistently been with L.A. Guns since 96.
Oh, good for him.
So 2006, 2020, 24 years.
24 years? Jesus, he's probably played in front of, 600, 700, 800 people by now.
So he believed, and plus when Steve and Tracy reformed LA Guns, from what I understood, and again, I don't know this as fact, but I was understood that it was a 50-50 partnership at that point.
Between who and who?
Steve and Tracy.
Oof. That was a dumb mistake on Tracy's part.
Yeah, well, maybe they didn't have the foresight to think that anything like this would happen.
Yeah, I guess not.
So anyway, Steve continues, I'm the longest tenured member in LA Guns, and even though I came in pretty much last at the very beginning, I'm the one that stayed with the band. Tracy quit in 2002. He quit LA Guns, this band, and then he went on and did other things and was out of the band for quite a while, I think for like 15 or 16 years. And then Phil and myself, we kept moving. We kept moving on, and it was LA Guns, and we were the original LA Guns because Mick Cripps and Kelly Nichols decided to leave too, and they're still very tight with me, and we're good friends, but they decided to leave, and they wanted to do other stuff, and I totally understood, but Phil, Tracy, and myself, we wanted to keep going, so LA Guns went on. Tracy ended up leaving the band, then Phil and I went on for like 15 years. LA Guns kept moving forward, doing albums and working with producer Andy Johns. Then Phil Lewis decided to leave the band too. And I'm still in the band and I'm still running the business. So we're LA Guns.
That is the lamest excuse ever. You're not LA Guns. You may have the letterhead authority, but that's it. You can use the logo, I guess, but you're not LA Guns. There's no fan that thinks you're LA Guns.
Right.
None. Absolute zero, and there will be absolute zero fans that will think that that's the real LA Guns. Unless Tracy or Phil drops dead from the virus, there's no one gonna take this seriously. Do you think?
No, I don't think so. I don't think anybody's gonna. It's no different than the two great whites out there.
Yeah.
I mean, I as much as I like Mark Kendall as a person, I have zero interest in seeing him with the Van Halen cover guy.
Mitch Malloy.
Yeah. I really don't, because I've seen Jack Russell's version, and he's got the sound. He's Jack Russell, and Phil Lewis, he's still at top form with his vocals. I mean, he is the sound of LA Guns.
Yeah, he definitely is. And yeah, I mean, Phil and Tracy together, that is the sound.
Yeah, that is the sound. I mean, it is Tracy Guns after all.
Yeah, and there's never. How long has LA Guns been a band? Since '88? What's that?
Well, no, realistically, if you want to go back as far as using the name LA Guns, LA Guns has been around since like '84.
All right, so 36 years. In 36 years of LA Guns, how many times, Neeley? Now you followed this band. You're close with the band. You certainly have talked to friends and whatnot about LA Guns in the past. Is that correct?
That is correct.
In those 36 years of talking about the band, how many times have you heard the comment, something paraphrasing this comment, damn, the bass and drumming in that band LA Guns is awesome?
Never.
You've certainly heard Tracy Guns is a fucking mean guitar player. You've certainly heard Phil Lewis sings his ass off. You've never heard, man, that's Steve Riley. He brings the back end like nobody else.
He has that swing.
Yeah, no one says that.
Nobody.
No one has ever said that. This is a horseshit play based on some shady legal activity at best.
Well, again, you and I briefly mentioned this this afternoon when we were doing some testing, but again, it boils down to the whole band versus brand. There's no way that Steve Riley could go out there, form a new band, and get any traction.
No.
So the only way you can get traction is using a brand that has been established for 35, 36 years.
Is the only, and again, I hope you're going to ask Kelly Nichols these questions this week.
Oh, absolutely.
Is the only real reason that they do this because they get bigger coin than if they started Steve Riley's LA Guns experience?
Yeah, absolutely. It's no different than what Blotzer did. I mean, Blotzer went out there and established, Bobby Blotzer's Rad experience, and he got zero traction with that.
Yeah. But then he tacked the Rat name onto it, and he was making, what, 20 grand?
Yeah, whatever it was. But, without that name, that established name, nobody cares.
Ugh, what a mess.
Because even Tracy Guns, even as much of a known guitarist as he is, he tried to have the Tracy Guns band, and really nothing happened.
Yeah.
And obviously he's done other projects. I did really like that League of Gentlemen thing that he did.
Yeah, that was fun, but that was so different.
Yeah, it was different, but I really enjoyed it.
I did too.
But regardless of that, no traction.
Yeah, even Brides did nothing.
Nothing.
Him and Nikki.
Yeah, they called in from the road. They were on the bus, and they called into the show.
Yeah. I'm saying they had Nikki Sixx from Motley Crue and Tracy Guns from LA Guns, and no one gave a fuck about that either.
They didn't. All they wanted was, where's Motley?
Yeah, exactly. Are you going to play Motley tunes tonight?
Yeah. No, we're a whole new thing. We got new music. Yeah, but do you play the Motley songs?
No? All right, I'll stay home.
Yeah. No, I want to hear Motley songs.
Right.
So anyway, Steve continues. So this is LA Guns, and Kelly decided he wanted to come back and get involved again, but that was a great situation. When that happened, I was so happy because I felt like we were a great rhythm section and we did some really great stuff together and we're really tight friends. So he came back before the M3 shows last year. And I'm sure a lot of that had to do with, well, see, I got 2 original members and you guys got 2 original members. My version is just as legitimate as yours. I guarantee you.
It probably is, but it's bullshit.
I agree.
No fan is going to buy this.
Mm-hmm.
None.
So he continues, yeah, this is LA Guns. I've never left the band. I'm pretty much the only one who never quit the band. And I just kept on going, and I ran the business from day one. I joined in 87 all the way up to now.
Dude, the band quit you. The band quit you and formed another band.
Yeah.
Called it LA Guns and left you alone.
They did.
You're not part of the band. No fan. Legally, and again, this goes, and I know this is all band versus brand shit. Legally, no fan gives 2 fucks about their legal problems. No fan gives 2 fucks about their legal problems. The only thing fans are going to give a shit about is when they show up to the MGM casino for an LA Gun show and Steve Riley, Kelly Nichols, and some other dudes show up and it's not Phil or Tracy. Then they're going to care. They're going to be like, this is fucking bullshit.
Right.
And then the casino's going to be like, well, fuck you. You bought a ticket, stupid. But that no one's going to care. It's just going to water down both. It's going to make it so neither one of them can make any money.
That's exactly it, too.
Mm-hmm.
He continues, so this is LA Guns. Kelly and I consider this LA Guns, and if people have to differentiate it by saying Steve and Kelly Nichols LA Guns, that's cool with us, too, because we know the other 2 guys are out there recording and touring with their own version of LA Guns.
Yeah, the version people care about.
Right. But yeah, this is the band. This is the band that I joined and I never quit. And pretty much everybody, all the original members quit or left the band at one point or another, and I just never did. So I feel very strongly about this LA Guns.
Well, good for you, pal.
Riley's version of LA Guns made its live debut last May at the M3 Rock Festival. The drummer is joined by, joined in the group by Orlando, Florida, bass guitarist, vocalist Kurt Froelich, bassist Kelly Nichols, and guitarist Scott Griffin, who played bass for the band from 2007 to 2009, and then again from 2011 to 2014. This past January, Riley was sued by Guns and Lewis in California District Court, joining Riley as the defendants are, in this case, are the 3 musicians who perform in his recently launched rival version of LA Guns, the group's manager, booking agent, and merchandiser, and Golden Robot Records. There's a label. Golden Robot Records.
Yeah, they have some big bands on there. They have LA Guns and, LA Guns. They had John Sykes, but he told them to fuck off and just decided he's not going to release a record now.
Okay.
I think they do actually have a few. They have a few of those bands that can't get Frontier's attention.
Right. Golden Robot Records.
Mm-hmm.
The complaint, which requests a trial by jury, alleges that Riley's version of LA Guns, referred to in the case docket as the infringing LA Guns, the infringing LA Guns,
yeah,
is creating unfair competition through its unauthorized usage of LA Guns trademark. In addition, Guns and Lewis are seeking relief from and against the false advertising, breach of contract, and unauthorized usage of their likenesses. And at its core, Guns and Lewis complaint calls into question Riley's claim of partial ownership of the LA Guns name and the logo, and alleges that his usage of both has been unauthorized. In addition, Guns and Lewis claim, as Guns has done publicly in the past, that Riley has embezzled much of the group's publishing proceeds over the past 2 decades.
Whoops.
That's why there's such a big rift between Tracy and Steve, is because Tracy, claims or believes that Steve, took a bunch of money that was due all of them.
Of course, it all comes back to the dollars.
Of course it does. Despite leaving the band soon after the release of 2002's Waking the Dead to focus on Brides of Destruction, his short-lived supergroup with Motley Crue bassist Nikki Sixx, Guns is the owner of the common law trademark rights for LA Guns name and logo. The complaint claims it notes that Guns founded the band in 1983, 4 years before Riley joined, and that Riley did not perform on the group's 1984 debut EP and contributed to just a single track on their 1987 self-titled full-length debut. According to the complaint, Guns has been injured by defendants' unfair competition, while he and Lewis have suffered from harm, including damages and irreparable injury to their goodwill. It also claims that Riley's LA Guns was formed with the intent of tricking and confusing consumers into believing that the infringing LA Guns band is the original, i.e. Tracy Guns version of the group. In addition to the actual and punitive damages, Guns and Lewis are seeking permanent injunction that restrains all other named defendants from using the Guns name, the logo, the likeness, as well as a declaration that Guns is the sole owner of the common law trademark rights for LA Guns and any related design marks.
Do you think pride ever comes into this?
No.
Do you ever have any sense of pride to just say, look, I am not going to piggyback onto that bullshit?
Nope. It's just I need to put some coin in my pocket, and if this is going to earn me some coin, well, so be it.
Just poor. It's just poor.
Well, I know Kelly a little bit, not as well as I know Tracy, Steve, and Phil.
Right.
But I have met Kelly a couple of times.
Right.
So it'll be interesting. I'll see what his take is. But again, it's an opportunity for these guys, these aging musicians, to make a couple of dollars.
Yeah. Sad.
Yeah, it is. Hail and Kill Caller, you're on the air.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's John.
Hey, it's John. What's up, John?
Not too much.
Before you begin, John, I just want to remind you of something.
Okay.
I still hate you, but go ahead.
Well, that's okay. This was never in doubt. and the fact that you bring it up at random just proves my point over all these years. But no, Aiken, real quick, to something you just said, you're you said, at what point does pride come into this? I mean, this is exactly like what you and I talked about on, when I was on the show a couple months ago when Neeley was out of town, about legacy artists and, Ozzy sounding like shit and them just going out there for a paycheck. I mean, this is the same thing. It's, at what point do you know what I mean? It's at what point is it more important to make money, or is it important to be like, okay, well, the band sounds good, the band looks good, and you're not shitting on what you've done for all those years. I mean, it ties into exactly what we talked about.
Yeah, it's just pathetic is what it is. It just, as an outsider, to me, it's like I would never in a million, and I'm an LA Guns fan, I like their music, but I would never go and see this version. I look at it as pathetic and prideless, and I wouldn't do it. I would be like, fuck you, I'm not going to see that. It's just,
I mean, and I completely agree with you. But again, it was like what we were talking about, a couple months ago. It's at what point do the dollars make more sense? You know, it's like stuff. I mean, and I understand for bands like LA Guns where they got to make ends meet. They're not, you know, out there like bands like Metallica who are releasing that ungodly shit fuck version of Blackened. You know, like, I mean, they can do whatever the fuck they want because they're making millions. I mean, Neely, I don't know. Did you see that, Neely?
Well,
that Blackened?
We're probably going to cover it, John. So we will talk about it.
Well, Metallica covered it and covered it poorly. But yeah, I mean, you know, Metallica can do that shit. They can fuck themselves because they've got all the money in the world. But I mean, guys like LA Guns and stuff like that. Like, why are you doing that? Like, it just seems like it would make more sense to kind of try to stay true to the legacy. But I guess, you know, dollars are more important, I suppose. I don't know. Anyway, that's all I had. So I'll let you get back to it. My manager's calling. Fuck you, pal. Hail and kill. Yeah, John.
There goes John.
He's got to go back to that Dream Theater listening party in the chat room.
Right, of course. So there you are. So, yeah, I will be interviewing Kelly Nichols later this week.
Yes.
And we'll find out what Mr. Nichols has to say about this situation. But again, maybe for him, it's just a paycheck. It's just, yeah, Steve had asked me if I could get involved and I wasn't doing anything. So sure, why not? What the fuck?
It's just sad.
Yeah, what do I care? Couple of dollars in my pocket that I didn't have yesterday.
That's all it's going to be.
Mm-hmm. So we'll find out.
Yep.
But anyway, the Steve Riley version of LA Guns released a song this week just called Crawl.
Mm-hmm.
I know you listened to it. I did listen to it. Any thoughts?
It's a song.
Okay.
Doesn't sound like LA Guns. Just sounds like a song.
Yeah. Sounds like somebody, you know, attempting to sound like Phil.
Yeah.
But again, you know, what made a lot of these bands, especially in the 80s, so unique and into themselves is they all had a sound.
Yeah.
And the singers that emerged from the 80s, whether it's David Coverdale or a Stephen Pearcy or a Jack Russell or a Don Dokken or whatever, they were all distinguishable. A Jeff Tate, they all had their own sound.
Well, these guys have their own sound. Unfortunately, it's doesn't sound anything like LA Guns.
Well, my point is that Phil Lewis has the sound of LA Guns.
Right, of course, yeah.
And you know, trying to mimic that, you know, with this version, it just does, as the Rev would say, it just doesn't cut the butter.
It just doesn't cut the damn butter, man.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll play this tune. We'll play a couple of tunes. We'll come back. So I'm going to leave you out of this segment with Steve Riley and Kelly Nichols' version, because Steve said it's cool if you want to distinguish it that way.
All right, good.
With their song Crawl. So if you haven't heard this, check it out. Give us your thoughts in the chat room. So here's Steve Riley's version of LA Guns with Crawl exclusively here
on your classic metal show.